and welcome back to my channel. I am Monika 𝐻𝐻, your channel healer and feminine embodiment mentor. And I am here today with my first guest ever on this channel, and I'm so excited for you to meet her. She is a previous client of mine. She's a student of Inner Goddess Awakening, and I am so excited to hear her story today. I know a little bit, but you don't know anything, and she's here to tell us about that. So let me introduce to you a very dear friend of mine. She is a sacred midwife, a healer, a divine channel, and a spiritual doula. She is the founder of the Rebirth program, and she's here to help and guide moms. And I'm so excited to have her here on this channel, where she can tell you a little bit more about what she do and who she is. So welcome, Antonella Licari.
Thank you, Monika. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
I'm so excited to have you here, and I want to start with you introducing yourself properly. Tell us a little bit about your background, who you are, where you are, and a little bit about what you do. You don't have to go very deep in what you do now, because we will do that through this chat that we're gonna have.
Okay, well, sounds amazing. So, well, as you said, I am Antonella, and I am a sacred midwife, a channel, a healer, and a spiritual doula for all mothers in their motherhood journey, starting from the conception to postpartum, even though I'm focusing on postpartum. And so we're going to go into details later on, but I'd say that, if I have to go back, I wasn't a sacred midwife before meeting you. I came from a corporate world. So I used to work in Ireland for 6 years. I was a manager for an hospitality business company. And I basically walked my ladder up, and I simply, did what I had to do. But then COVID came, and all my world basically went upside down, and I became a mom in the meantime. So I had my first child when the pandemic hit, and from there I suppose it's all history. because my pregnancy and my motherhood journey changed everything. I questioned my life completely, and I started asking myself who I was and what I was supposed to do, who I was meant to be. I mean, my motherhood journey basically changed my perspective on life as well. And that is actually when I started wondering what I could do for mothers. So I suppose that I got the spark from my motherhood experience that awakened my true mission. And then I found you.
Yeah, and that's so interesting, because like when we see the journey of the woman, the motherhood journey, like the initiation from the maiden to the motherhood and the mother, is like this big transformation. And I don't have any kids yet, but you do. You have 2 beautiful kids, so you would know how like groundbreaking that initiation is for a woman.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
And as you're telling us here now, like for some women that actually start to raise a lot of questions about who am I now, and so on and so forth. So yes. Yeah, and for a lot of people, that is how their like so-called spiritual awakening or spiritual journey actually starts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for me that was another incident of like trauma and a lot of stuff happening, but all of these experiences have in common that it's shaking up our lives so massively that we start to look within and question ourselves.
Yes, I suppose you need to have something that truly awaken you, basically, because that is what happens to us. I suppose you need to touch rock bottom to be able to then see the reality and with different eyes, I suppose. And yeah, I suppose this is basically a cocoon time for you, where you're actually wondering, who am I and what am I supposed to do? And what can I do to truly, for my life to have a meaning as well, and for others to be in service. I guess that was the calling, to be in service for others. How can I be in service for mothers in this case?
So you felt the call for mothers already then, like right after you became a mother yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that my first child specifically awakened something in me. Then I had my second child, and again, things were not going the way I wanted. And the reason was because of the pandemic. Obviously, there were other dynamics that, didn't help my motherhood journey back then. But I believe that nothing comes without a reason. And I had to go through all the things that I went through to be able then to say, yes, that is what I'm meant to do. And I just want that mothers don't feel alone in this journey, because you feel very alone, even though there is no pandemic. We are talking a lot about village, but where is the village? Now that we live in, in such a digital world, we are left like scrolling all day. We think that we have a lot of friends. We think that we have a lot of people around us. But when you're closing the door, you're still alone. And if you're becoming a mother, and if you are in that motherhood stage of your life, especially in postpartum, you feel this loneliness. And I think that now more than ever, we need people that can truly support us in this journey to be able to become the mom that we are meant to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
And can I just ask, when are your kids born?
First child was born the 20th of October, 2020.
2020.
So yes, at 20 p.m.
Wow.
So 20 is definitely her number. Yes, and it was, the pandemic was basically very present back then. And you could feel it. You could feel it in the hospital. You could feel it at home, because obviously I was alone completely, and I didn't have anyone that could support me, because no one could come, basically, right? I don't know.
Your partner wasn't allowed in the hospital.
Well, my
right?
partner, yes, but not in the hospital. In the hospital, I was alone too. So so it is a lot to go through when it's your first pregnancy as well, because you don't know what to expect. And I couldn't go to the prenatal classes. I couldn't do anything of that. So I was very naive also about birth and about labor and about anything, truly. So and everyone is asking me why you had your second child, because that was surprising for everyone, right? And I think that the main reason was because I said to myself, if I went through all of this with the first and I could do it, I can do anything now.
In that kind of sense, I'm not surprised that you went through that awakening as well, because that is brutal. Having your first child alone in a hospital, not knowing anything about what will happen, and all of the fear that was in the society in 2020 as well. We didn't know as much about the pandemic and what it could do. And
it was brutal in many ways, not just for the pandemic. You could feel the stress also, in the healthcare providers, and they were not truly there supporting the mom in her becoming. At least that is what I felt. For me to go into details on this, because I don't want to scare anyone, motherhood is such a beautiful journey. I mean, every one of us lives the experience in a different way. It's very personal. So I don't want to go into details on the brutal stuff that happened to me, because I don't want, again, scare anyone. I think that it was a particular time of our lives, the pandemic, talking about the pandemic. And I think that each one of us was going through a lot of fear. Yes. The fear was very present, and no one of us was able to truly handle it, because we didn't have the tools.
And I can sign that, because I was a healthcare provider myself back in 2020. I was working as a pharmacist in a hospital, and it's like you said, like we were also afraid of the virus, because we had to protect ourselves from the patients that came in and all. So it was also difficult to even speak with another mom that you had, with you in the same room, because you didn't know if she had COVID as well. We were always in this state of fear, and it didn't help. So it was very frightening. And
And that is when your body also contracts and it is very difficult to go into labor. And yeah, so there were obviously many things that I didn't know back then, but now like the fear can be one of those things that can stop your labor as well. The hospital can be good and bad at the same time, because when you're entering into an hospital, obviously you feel this pressure and you feel that there are a lot of patients, and your subconscious knows that you go to the hospital as a patient usually, right? But a mother is not a patient, is a mother. The way you perceive it is, I fear going to the hospital, right? Doesn't matter if I'm pregnant and if I have to give birth. That is the feeling you have subconsciously. So the fear can block you anyway, right? So you need to be in this relaxed state to be able to give birth without, pressure, without intervention, without so many things that might happen afterwards, because everything is a consequence of a state that we have within us, right?
And I'm so excited that you're starting to go into this topic, because we're going to speak more about the Sacred Midwife and the Spiritual Doula a little bit later on. But you had a second child. When did he come?
He turned 3 in August. He was born the 28th of August in 2022. So 2 years later, almost. He's the son for me. Such a beautiful personality. I mean, for me, he's a star seed, because the way he speaks is very sensitive, such a beautiful child.
And for the people who don't know, a star seed is a soul that have incarnated on other planets, universes, dimensions. That isn't just Earth-based. But that is a conversation and a topic for another time. But yeah, and I think both you and I can recognize ourselves in the star seed. Star seed soul, so exciting, Antonella. And then a couple of years passed, and you and I met in the very, very beginning of 2024. So it's almost 2 years ago now, and we didn't know each other, but we have a common, very good friend of ours. And I was about to start my first ever round of my signature program, Inner Goddess Awakening, and you turned up. So I'm a bit curious about what made you sign up to Inner Goddess Awakening.
I was very interested in the energetic work back then, and I didn't know much, honestly. And I remember I was very curious to know more. I was in this stage where I wanted to know more how to support people, but from a spiritual perspective, but I didn't know much, right? It was just a feeling I had within me. And then this friend of mine, she was already into this world, for a long time. And she was like, just recommending a few energy healers. And I wasn't inspired by those healers. And then I found you and I felt immediately a connection. I think I started following you on Instagram, and then I started seeing some stories that you were doing. And I felt like, okay, I feel like I know her. I don't know. It was such a feeling. It's such a nice feeling. And then, soon after that, I remember you just said you were offering a free masterclass, and I immediately signed up. And what made me sign up is very interesting, because I remember that during this free masterclass you were giving, that a side note here, by the way, you're just amazing, because you are giving, I don't think there is any healer out there that is giving a free masterclass like you do, and you put your heart into it. It is so beautiful to be able to actually experience what then is going to be your program, because that is actually, it is not just a taste of it, it is a full experience of it, and you're amazing. So yeah, that is actually true. And this is actually what made me sign up, because I could have the true experience of what then is going to happen in the Inner Goddess Awakening. And I remember you introduced the goddesses, and I felt immediately a very strong connection with Athena. She's very strong. But then when Hera started talking, I felt so drawn to her. I had goosebumps in my body. I was like, okay, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I think she's also the motherhood goddess.
Yeah, she's the goddess of motherhood, childbirth, and home, marriage.
Exactly. And I don't know what happened, but she made me sign up. She made me say yes. I was so, I had this battle within me because I was like, okay, I had signed up for a marketing course. I had signed up for a doula course because I wanted to be a certified doula as well back then. And then you came in and I was like, okay, the third course. Oh my God, how am I going to do that? But, it was like a calling for me and I couldn't ignore that. And I remember when I actually signed up, I felt such a release, it was like, okay, that was meant for me.
Yeah, and it is for that for many of the women that I meet as well. And it is like sometimes it is my higher self, like showing up in their dreams, and sometimes it is the goddesses actually coming and collecting them, just like showing up all over, or are showing up one time but have this very powerful message and energy to her. Wow. Where you kind of just feel drawn and know that, okay, this is my next step. I don't know why, but I need to be there. And I remember you and I were chatting a little bit on DMs on Instagram, and you were telling me about like taking all of these other programs and courses, and you were like, I don't know if I have the time for another one. But like in the very end, I think it was just like hours before I closed up and the doors closed, you were like, okay, I'm in, I'm gonna be there. So do you want to tell us a little about your journey through Inner Goddess Awakening? Like, how did you feel in the beginning compared to the end, and what happened? Take us through your experience. Okay.
As I mentioned, like I started because I wanted to know more about me as well. I was still in this kind of stage of my life where I didn't know who I was meant to be. I knew what I wanted to do, which was helping mothers. And that is why I also signed up for the doula program to be a certified doula. But I thought that wasn't enough for me, that I wanted to, that I had to do something. And I suppose that at the beginning was more a personal development process for me, but then I found out much more. So I think it was immediate, the knowing that I was meant to combine the spiritual world and the energetic world with my very grounded work, because a doula is someone that is very grounded, no? It is very 3D, let's just say. During the Inner Goddess Awakening, I think that the most transformative things that I experienced are the fact that I could immediately start channeling. That was, for me, was like something that left me speechless. I didn't know that could happen so fast for me. I remember receiving messages and downloads while you were speaking, while you were guiding us through the journey. And I remember DMing you, like messaging you and saying, look, Monika, I received this message and I know that wasn't for me, that was for me. And for me, it was impressing, I was like impressed by the fact that I could receive all this guidance while you were supporting us and guiding us in the journey. And then another transformative thing that I wasn't expecting at all was to start speaking light language. A session, perhaps when you actually activated this gift for us, that I felt this something in my throat chakra, like something that wanted to come up, but it was somehow stuck in my throat chakra. And then I remember meditating 2 months after our own program together, and I started speaking light language, and I was like, is this my light language? I was like, so surprising for me. But I knew that it was meant to come up, and that it was also meant to be used in my work as a spiritual doula and sacred midwife. So that I suppose that those two things were very surprising to me, but also very transformative, because I understood that I was meant for much more than a simple doula. And then obviously all the things, all the healing that we did together, the past lifetimes and even this lifetime, and all the trauma and the experiences that you carry that you're not even aware of. Like, you think that you're fine, but then you realize that there are a lot of layers that you need to work on. And I suppose that I wasn't aware until I did Inner Goddess Awakening. So you made me realize how much I had to heal. And I remember I cried my eyes out, but it was worth it. I mean, it is not, when you think about an healing path, you think, okay, it's going to be easy. No, it's not going to be easy, because you're going to do a lot of shadow work, a lot of inner introspection, and there is a lot that you're going to uncover that you might don't even expect. So you need to be ready, basically, not to be able to do that. One of the things that you taught me actually during this course was that I had to let go of my control, because I was a control freak. And I had to know everything. I was very impatient, and I needed to know everything straight away. And you were like, okay, be patient, things are going to unfold.
That's very common. I see that all the time in my clients. They want things to happen right now. And it's like you were saying, like, when you are ready, all of your gifts will appear, but you also have to let go of that control, because both like channeling and light language and like the realm of energy, that's only connected to the feminine, and that is a state of surrender, while the state of control is the masculine. And those, like, we can't have two energies at once. So either we're in our masculine or in our feminine. So we are shifting usually all the time throughout the day. But when we are doing this kind of work, like energy work and connecting with our guides and the unseen realm, we are in our feminine. And for that to happen, we have to be in our feminine. But yeah, it was so fun to follow you through Inner Goddess Awakening, because I think it's the second session we have, second or the third. We are opening up the channel, and you were like channeling from the very day we did that, I think. And it was because you were ready, your soul was ready. And also with the light language, that is something that I activate usually in Inner Goddess Awakening, like every time I have Inner Goddess Awakening, but it doesn't activate for the person right then and there. That might come actually years later when the person is ready. Exactly. And I also wanted just to emphasize what you were saying about being prepared for that journey through Inner Goddess Awakening, because you are going to meet your wounds. It is not just sunshine and rainbows, not at all. We have Goddess Persephone, she's the queen of the underworld, and she is taking us to our own underworld and letting us meet our own shadows. And I think there's also another thing that you said that's really, really important here, and that is that you were crying your eyes out so often. Because when all of these wounds are coming up, we need to feel them and we need to just release them. And that might be through a lot of crying, or it can be to scream. Like whatever emotion is coming up, we need to express it so we actually can get it out of our body. And that is something that some people are afraid to feel fully, especially when it comes to rage and deep grief. Because it doesn't feel good in our body. It hurts.
It is discomfort.
Yeah. Exactly. But we need to go through those emotions to actually get to the other side. And on the other side, that is where the magic is happening, and all of your gifts are surfacing more and more and more and more, because we have to peel those layers that is actually holding our light down and holding our gifts and our authentic self down. All of that conditioning and all of that mud, the shit.
It happened a lot. It was very profound. It was a very profound journey, I have to say. You said the truth there when you said that you have to go within yourself. It is a very deep. It is very true when you're saying that you have to go in the depth of your wounds. And this is actually when you know who you are as well. A lot of us don't face our wounds, and we think and we project things onto others. But the truth is that we need to look into ourselves to be able then to re-emerge and to rebirth. And this is the same thing I'm always saying to the moms that are coming in the journey with me. Because for me, it was like a postpartum, also your program, because that is actually what happens in postpartum. You are going in the depth of your grief. You need to grieve the old identity. And that is what I was doing with you. I suppose that I couldn't do it when I was in postpartum because I didn't have the tools. But you gave me these tools to actually be able to look within myself and to truly shed the layers that I wasn't able to do it on my own. Okay, so that was actually my own postpartum and my own coming out from my cocoon as a butterfly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like in that kind of sense, you can actually see Inner Goddess Awakening as the pregnancy, and you kind of, you're birthing yourself through the program, and you're becoming a different person on the other side. And then it's like the postpartum period after Inner Goddess Awakening, because when you are heading into a journey like Inner Goddess Awakening, it doesn't stop when the program ends. That is actually when your new life starts, and when you need to integrate what you have gone through, and usually more things will come up because we have started something.
And this is also very important to say, I suppose, because we believe that, okay, I'm working on my energetic stuff and my wounds energetic, so I'm releasing them energetic, so I will be fine and I don't have to do anything else. No, we live in a body, so our avatar need us to do something about it. It is not over when you're finishing the program. You then need to do all the things, all the actions that then will bring you to the person that you're meant to be.
Exactly.
You cannot just work on your wounds energetically and say, okay, the work is done, I don't have to do anything about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is something that is so important to emphasize here. I don't want to say that people are doing it wrong, because that's, but they kind of misunderstand the whole process. They kind of jump over the embodiment of what is happening. Many, how I perceive it, believe that as long as I receive this energetic healing, I'm good, like you're saying. Yeah, without the embodiment and, like you're saying, the actions afterward. You actively have to step into the person that you want to become. It's like stretching like a scrunchie or something. Like if you don't take the actions, the scrunchie is gonna like hit back, and you're gonna be in the same state as you were. So so we can do all the energy work in the world, but if you don't do the embodiment in the aftermath and the integration properly, like you won't get anywhere.
Exactly. This is very true, and it is very important, I suppose, because especially when you start channeling as well, it is easy to go in a different world and be in the clouds, right? But then you need to remember that you have a physical body, and that this physical body needs to do some actions to be able to integrate and as you said, to embody the person that you're meant to be. Absolutely.
And what will you say was your biggest transformation through Inner Goddess Awakening?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest transformation, I suppose, was first to open the door to new possibilities for me, because I was stuck before Inner Goddess Awakening. I felt stuck. I didn't know how to truly be the person that could be in service for mothers. So I didn't have a clue. I just knew that I was supposed to do something, but I didn't have a clue. And the transformation I had during Inner Goddess Awakening was first to work on myself, because it is truly important that you work on yourself first to be able to help others as well. You cannot help others if you don't work on your shadows and on your wounds first. And obviously in Inner Goddess Awakening, a lot of shedding and a lot of crying, and as I said before, and a lot of release. But for me, I suppose that the transformation was to know who I was meant to become first. So the knowing of my soul mission. And then obviously the abilities that came through. So the gifts that you awakened, and the fact that I could channel, that I could actually tap into other dimensions to be fully supported in my work. Yeah, in my work as a sacred midwife. That was super important for me. Learning, you never stop. Practicing, and you never stop. Also growing as a soul and as a spiritual being, I suppose. But you definitely opened this door. Yeah,
beautiful.
Totally.
Beautiful. And I also want to ask you, because we have been mentioning the Sacred Midwife, and I remember so clearly I think it was the first session we had. That's a rose ceremony. And the goddesses are giving the archetypes of the group. And you kind of you get a lot of archetypes. And as a group, they don't say like, hey, Antonella, you are the sacred midwife. You kind of have to feel into the resonance of the words that they are speaking. But I remember that you sent me a message afterward and you were like, the sacred midwife came to me. And I was like, I wasn't surprised because I felt that you had this deep, deep connection to mothers already when we spoke on Instagram before you signed up as well. But can you tell us a little bit about like the sacred midwife? What is that compared to like the regular midwife? What does that mean for you?
Yeah, well, I just want to say something about the archetypes. Yes, because that was actually for me a confirmation. When you said, all the archetypes, obviously, as you said, you had to feel into it. And I immediately felt the priestess and the sacred midwife and the oracle for, the healer, very important. And so for me, that was a confirmation. And the sacred midwife is different from a, regular midwife because I'm not a doctor. I want to specify that. I'm not a doctor. I don't work in an hospital as a midwife does. But I would say like that I support more the energetic and the spiritual side of mothers going through the threshold of motherhood, because every single stage is a threshold and every single stage has different dynamics and is a rite of passage for mothers. So either you're conceiving or you're giving birth or you're going through postpartum. You think that everything is over when you're giving birth and then a new life starts and then you're, in your postpartum and you feel more lost than ever. And I suppose because every single stage has a different threshold, and it is truly, especially in postpartum, that is the area where I focus the most. It is truly going into the depth of your grief because you're letting go of the maiden that you used to be and you're becoming a new version of you. And you still have to know who this person is. You don't know her yet. You need to embody the mom. And this is the most difficult thing because most of us actually, that happened to me as well. We are resisting this change. We are forcing ourselves to be and to have the life that we used to be, okay? To be the person that we used to be and to have the life that we used to have. And becoming a mom means that now you have a baby that you need to take care of 24/7. And actually, the more you force, the worse it's going to become for you. Your physiological body is all for the baby. So the more you're resisting to be like, how can I do like a shower in peace, or how can I have my latte in peace or my coffee, It is something that you cannot control. And this is what we are usually doing. We are controlling our motherhood journey, especially in postpartum, because again, we don't know how to be the mom and find our new rhythm as mothers. And so there is a lot of work to do, a lot of shedding that we need to do. There is a beautiful myth in Anna, is called. She was a goddess going to the depth of her own soul. She had to get rid of all the layers that that were actually symbolizing her before going into this labyrinth where she was going through. And she had to remove all her dresses while she was going to the depth again of her death because she was dying. And she's coming out of this beautiful radiance and like a queen. And this is what happens to mothers as well when we are in postpartum, right? And this is what I help mothers with to thrive again after postpartum and even years after postpartum, because for me, for example, I found you and I went 2 years after postpartum, I went through my own shedding. So it is never too late to do this work, because you think that you're done with your pain, but a lot of us adapt to the pain. We are not releasing the pain. We are not living the pain fully. We are just adapting to it. And it is different. If you want to heal, you need to go and face it. Face your wounds, face your fears, face your grief.
So you're supporting women in this process as the sacred.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Supporting them in many things, actually, because as I said, my work is very grounded, and it is very it is like a doula, let's just say, because I'm emotionally guiding you to become a mother as well, but there is a lot of shedding that needs to be done energetically as well. And it is important to do this work, but also to be able to regulate your body, because you're very anxious, you're very after birth, we enter into a state of alert. We are still there. Like the experience of birth can be. I don't like the term traumatic, because it is not good to say that, but it is very shocking for us, for our body, for our physical body, and so you need to process what happened when you gave birth. It is an experience that truly is life-changing. It is nothing that you have ever experienced and that you will ever experience in your life. Just the act of giving birth. I'm not just saying all the things that happen afterwards, right? Can be blissful if you know and you have the tools to have a blissful and an orgasmic birth. But it could be also shocking if you're not ready to go through it properly. And so anyhow, it's going to be something that will change your life, okay, and your body. And so you need to reconnect to this body that doesn't look yours anymore. You need to regulate it from the inner world, and you have to actually, regulate from the external as well. So you need to connect with it again, with your scars as well, if you had scars, for example.
And it's interesting, like the journey that you're talking about and birth, like that is only something that women will experience, like, of course. And birth in itself is something that we call a liminal space. So it's actually between the living and the dead. And that is something that we also can experience through cervical orgasms as women. And also that is something that we are tapping into when we are menstruating. It's the liminal space, because we are between death and life then again. But yeah, birth is more powerful than that. And like all of these states we can enter are this liminal space, and it transforms us.
Exactly. And I suppose that if you wish to have a blissful experience, it can be compared to your theta state when you're actually falling to sleep or you're waking up. So you need to be in that state. But what happens is that we have all the outside, how would I say that?
Interference,
exactly. That might disturb that process. Okay. Yeah. And so that is what actually bring the mom back to earth. And so the labor might be a little bit, difficult, or she might have a difficult time to actually give birth. It could be like slower than how it is supposed to be. So there are different dynamics that need to be faced. But yeah, I suppose that this is actually a very long topic.
It is. We could go very deep. But I know also that you have a podcast, and people can listen to more of these things in your podcast. It's very, very interesting. Yeah. Do you have a specific moment during Inner Goddess Awakening where you felt something changed? Like, this is life before and after kind of feeling?
Yes, I think it was the last session we had together. It was during this ritual, and we were visualizing ourselves, all the women in the group, holding hands around the pool, and the goddesses were talking to us, and we had to do this ritual where we were immersing ourselves into the water, and it was like a rebirth, truly, for us. And the goddesses said, I laughed there, because they said, don't be so serious. Something like that. They said, like, life shouldn't be taken so seriously, and you should take, your work, your life with ease, and with ease and passion, basically, and live your life in a way that is not forced, right? And that was my haha moment first, because I said, okay, they know about me too much.
Yeah, and it was funny, specifically this ceremony that we had, the goddesses spoke to you. They spoke to each and every participant, and that was your message.
Exactly. So yeah, you were trans channeling and they were speaking to me directly. And when they said that sentence, I was like, okay, they know a lot about me. they seriously do. And yeah, so for me, that was a moment of reflection as well, because actually, I suppose that was how I grew up as well, to be serious, to take things seriously, to take work seriously, and to be always like in control of my life and, you know, pushing myself and be goal oriented and always have this kind of masculine energy, right? I was very masculine in my masculine energy. And then they basically made me realize that it wasn't supposed to be like this, that I was actually in a female body, and that my feminine aspect counted as well, and that I had to relax and surrender to be able then to express my femininity and also my work, which is very feminine as well. And yes, so that was amazing for me. That was actually a very haha moment.
So we have spoken a lot about, you know, your gifts and channeling and your work. Do you feel different? Like, do you feel changed from the beginning of Inner Goddess Awakening compared to the end? And what changed within you? How do you feel?
As I said, I felt a lot in my masculine before starting Inner Goddess Awakening. I felt stuck as well. I didn't know who I was meant to be. I didn't have any clarity whatsoever. And 2 years after, I can say that I'm embodying the Sacred Midwife. I know who I am. I know who I'm here to serve. And this is impressive. I mean, if I look at myself from the past, you know, I was like, is this me actually? And is this who I am now? And who am I supposed to be afterwards? You know, these are the questions that I'm asking myself, because always, as I said, you never stop growing, and there is always a layer that you will find out, but you have to take actions. That is for sure. You have to take action. You have to believe in yourself as well. Because I suppose that you have to be the first cheerleader of yourself to be able then to grow and evolve. And with that being said, I'm not saying that the ego must take over. For sure, you have to do some actions to be able then to embody the version that you want to be.
I just also wanted to just shoot in, like, the whole topic of the Sacred Midwife. For me, I had never heard about that before I channeled it in that session. And for me, it feels very much like the ancient feminine stepping forward, like the goddess energy stepping forward, and the sacredness of the feminine and the female body, and the sacredness of motherhood and that journey that you are supporting other women in now. And also for me, how I kind of feel the energy of the Sacred Midwife is, and the work that she's here to do, is to help birth the new world and help birth the new children, because there is new souls coming in, like your children, like very sensitive souls. And I think also for a lot of women and parents in general, they need to be in a specific state to carry these children into the world.
There is a very important component there. You need to connect with the soul before conceiving. And I suppose that especially if you are finding challenges to conceive, you enter into a state of stress and you're not enjoying your life. You're not enjoying the relationship you have with your partner, and you're not enjoying making love. And children are coming from love. Souls are coming from love. So it is truly important to think that a soul spirit, like a child, is joy. This is their energy, basically, right? So you have to be in the state of joy and love to be able to tell them, I'm ready to receive you. And if this state not there or is not present because you are forcing yourself to control something that cannot be controlled, like conception, then it becomes difficult for you to conceive. Obviously, there are many components there. As I said, I'm not a doctor, and I want to specify that. This is the energetic and spiritual side of it. But there are many other components, like, are you with the right partner? Because your body might stop you from conceiving because your body and your soul knows that you're not with the right partner. And so the child doesn't come through. So again, every single story is very personal, so we need to go into it and see what happens in the field of that person. But this is a very important component. For sure, love and joy must be there when you are trying to conceive. As you said, I love thinking to mothers like people who can actually birth new worlds, because that is what we are meant to do. And I suppose this is what we are assisting now. We are changing, we are evolving as well as souls, and the souls that are coming in are here for a bigger mission, I suppose, and we need to be ready to welcome them.
I was like, oh, this is a great point. Yeah, I think
love and joy.
Yes, it actually was about like conceiving within love and joy, and also having the right partner, and that the soul is choosing us. We are not now choosing to get pregnant when we want. Like, that is also my experience, that my children won't come before I am completely ready. And I wanted to ask you, do you also do this work and support women in connecting to these spirit babies and like before conception? Can you speak a little bit about that part?
So I support mothers from conception actually to postpartum. So every single stage is very different, and every single stage is a different program for a specific mom. I do help mothers with their conception journey, so to connect with their baby soul. I do offer, also I have a free resource that they can actually sign up for. It's a free spirit baby meditation to connect with your spirit baby.
I did that one. Let me just say, I did that one. You should sign up. I was crying my eyes out. It was so precious, so beautiful. So thank you for having that as a free resource for people.
Thank you, Monika. Yes, so this is actually the first step. Then you obviously there is a path that we are doing. It is a very intensive program, but it is actually to connect from a spiritual perspective to your baby soul and to your, to the soul that wants to come. So you might receive messages from your baby as well during this path with me. They might have something to say to you or things to recommend to you as well, because that can happen too. And then I have also another program for pregnant women, and this is the Pregnancy Portal program. This is to prepare yourself to labor and birth, and so to have this experience, aware of what you're going through. And again, as I want always to stress this, because maybe that can be confusing. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not giving advice as a doctor, but I can definitely support you from the spiritual and the emotional and the energetic side. That is something that we can do together. So I can prepare you to have a birth plan, for example, and we can also prepare yourself for the birth experience, prepare your birth plan, so we can actually visualize your birth experience and how it should be for you. Because a lot of women go into the birth experience not knowing what they want. And so this can actually be helpful for you so that you can prepare yourself to that experience the way you want. And there are a lot of things to say about the birth experience, but definitely how to prepare for labor, how to handle pain, how to be ready for the expansion and the breathing work, which is very important. The breath, we always forget how to breathe, and in general, but also during the birth experience, it is important to know how to breathe. And then obviously my postpartum threshold, which is the most vulnerable and I suppose also underestimated stage of motherhood. where I truly support women to shed all the layers of their old identity, but also to connect with their body again, physical body, to connect with their scars, to connect with just, with the baby as well, because you think that your baby doesn't speak and you don't know how to handle and you don't know how to connect with your baby. And there is this telepathic connection that you can actually have with your baby. You can actually talk to them and they can actually tell you what they want, even if they don't speak. And this is beautiful. And this is how you become, you actually build the bonding with your baby. This is how you become the mom that you're meant to be.
Oh, this is so exciting, and it's so precious and lovely work that you're doing supporting these mothers, and I can't wait until I'm getting pregnant and can get some guidance from you.
Yes, it is beautiful. I think there is a lot of interference in every single stage of motherhood. There is always the external interference, and that is when moms start doubting themselves, start doubting their self-worth, their values as well. They start doubting that they are actually good moms and they can actually be good moms for their babies. And don't get me wrong, the digital world can be helpful and you have a lot of information coming out from there, but this can be also very confusing for moms, especially when you are a newborn mom and you have to learn how to be the mom. When you're trying to build a connection with your baby, there shouldn't be any interference. There shouldn't be anyone saying what to do, what you shouldn't do. And it should be a sacred space and a safe environment for you to be able to truly look at your inner resources, because you do have your inner resources. You just need to find them, and you need to believe that you can do it, because you are born to be mother. And so no one can do it better than you for your child, because he chose you in the first place.
And also, like you have been emphasizing before during this conversation, that motherhood is a very personal journey. So in the sea of advice that you find on the internet, that might not be the best advice for you and your baby, because you are two different individuals. And that is something that I also find so beautiful with what you are offering, because you can make a personal plan or support in their journey that supports them as the souls that they are and the human being they are, and how their environment are, and so on and so forth. So I think it's so important, the work that you do, and it's been so exciting to see your journey from the beginning of 2024 when we first met, and where you are now, where you are supporting women, I guess, all over the world. It's not just in Italy where you are living, and people can contact you online.
Yes, absolutely. And there is one more thing I want to say, actually, that you said as well about the child. Every single child is different. This is why it's also very personal. So as a mom, you have to learn who this child is, who this soul is. And so it's a learning process. And you need to give yourself time to be able to find out who the person that you have in front of you is. Because if we think, okay, they are newborn, they are not talking, they are not speaking, they cannot tell me what they want. That is not accurate. That is not true. They have a world to say to you. They are speaking all the time to you, even with their eyes, with their gestures. And so the more you connect with your baby, the more you learn from them. They are the first teachers for mothers. I always say my first child, and especially first, are very, are teachers, because you learn from them and they learn from you. They are very patient, because you learn with them to be the mother.
Yeah, exactly. That's so beautiful. And now we're gonna wrap up a little bit, but I just feel that we could sit here and talk about this topic for ages.
Forever, yes.
There's so much more like interesting stuff that I wanted to get into, but I think we have to save that for another time. Now in the very end, I want to ask you, would you recommend Inner Goddess Awakening to another woman? And if so, why?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think you're an amazing, amazing channel, healer, and mentor. You are so heart-centered, and if they would meet you, they would know that, because you are so good, Monika, and you're always there. Even now, you're always there for us. You're always there supporting people, and you do it with the best intention. And I think this is so rare to find nowadays, to find such a pure healer and channeler, and and a mentor as well. And I truly, truly appreciate all of your work, all that you have done with me, and in Inner Goddess Awakening, which is amazing. And yeah, if people has any doubt, I would definitely say no, don't doubt Monika, because she's the best. She's absolutely the best out there. Absolutely.
Thank you. And you were also just mentioning a free masterclass that I did. It's called the Goddess Codes, and we're gonna put it now in the caption under this video so people can find it. It's still free and you can listen to it. And we're also going to put your contact details in the caption of this video, so we can find you where, Antonella?
Well, you can definitely find me on Instagram, where I'm more active. I'm also on TikTok, and I have my podcast, the Sacred Midwife podcast, on Spotify and Apple Podcast. And also I do have my website, www.antonellallicari.com, and you can find me there. And yeah, you can just DM me, and I suppose that is the best way to approach with me. And yeah,
and I guess they can find your beautiful free offerings and also your programs through your website.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Antonella, for coming to the channel and having this talk today. It's been wonderful. And what you're doing is so inspiring, and it's so important for the world and the development of the world and the existence that we have now. I wished every mom and every soon-to-be mom could find you and your work, because that truly makes so much of a difference to have that energetic support. And especially now when the feminine energies are rising in every woman, we need more and more of that spiritual support. And I also believe that many of these mothers-to-be need the energetic work on their womb and their body to prepare for the soul that wants to enter as well. And also just to get the connection with the soul at all, like it's beautiful. It's beautiful and so important. So I would recommend everyone to find your podcast and find you on Instagram or TikTok and just listen to this wise woman that we have here today. Because I think what you do is it's groundbreaking and life-changing. And I think we're going to see more and more of the sacred midwives waking up now in the next coming years as well to do this work. So
we need more sacred midwives.
Yes.
And we need mothers as well, because obviously,
we need more moms. There is a lot of work that we need to do definitely on our wombs to be ready to welcome these new souls coming on earth. And definitely, all that you said, thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for giving me the chance to be also known out there, because that is also very important. And thank you so much for all the work that you do, which is brilliant. And I wish also people can find you, because you're amazing.
Thank you so much, Antonella. It's been a pleasure.